Hello everyone and welcome to this week's energy update. Very excited to dive into this week's themes. We have Venus retrograde starting. We have this amazing new month of March with this beautiful 3 energy. In numerology, the number 3 is all around self-expression. It's all about creativity and using our voice. So these are really dominant themes we're going to see. We're going to see a lot around our relationships with this Venus retrograde, really taking center stage here. Are things working for you? Where do things need to shift? Where do things need to change? What boundaries now to be put in place when it comes to relationships and our own desires? So really action-packed week, and I'm really here for it. I feel like a lot of this is going to be so forward advancing for us as a collective. So always take these things with a grain of salt when these things come up, when things seemingly trip you up on your path. There's always that reason for it. There's always this moment where we want to step back and take an introspective time to really analyze what's happening for us and how we can make these forward shifts to really advance in our soul's evolution. So that's what I'm seeing this week, is a lot of this observatory energy, being careful of our reactions and what we can and cannot control, and really getting clarity around these things. So let's dive into what channeled. So conditioning comes to the fore, recognition of your past, seeing with eyes wide open what needs to change in order to be free. So releasing these themes of low self-worth, little recognition, and hard work that never pays off. And then they showed me the hawk, and the hawk is the totem of really getting this higher vantage point, this higher perspective, this big perspective of life, and seeing all the details in their full entirety. So we're getting this very big picture of life this week. And so what channeled from there was seeing beyond the doubts that linger, that block you from manifesting your dreams. You are a dream that has come true. So this is really beautiful. We're now going to be seeing this brighter side. So they're kind of showing me this transition between someone who was very much in their wounding and in their pain, and how they lived life so in the experience that they weren't aware of the higher picture and the higher purpose perhaps behind these things. But this week we're really getting this awareness. We're getting this big picture thinking come in that helps us become very aware of the cycles we are participating in. And we're going to see that very highlighted through Venus retrograde, which is showing us the truth. We're going to get these aha moments. So what channeled was see the cycles, see how they need to end for a new beginning. So fresh starts and innovative ideas come forward. What would your life look like if you did come first? Evaluate every area. What boundaries need to come into place? Where do you need to make a firm stance? Where do you need to believe? This is so cool. So let's pause here. So we have these really strong continuations of cycles here, and they're really showing me the low self-worth being very strong here, and this frustration, this anger that's rearing to the surface of not being recognized. And we actually had this theme come up last week on how recognition is actually very pivotal for us in this next stage of our evolution. So where are you feeling unrecognized for your efforts? Where are you feeling like you're not good enough or haven't made it yet to be recognized? Or where are you finding you are going and going and going and doing and doing and doing, really participating in the hard work, but not seeing the payoff, not seeing this recognition or even appreciation for what you're doing? So this might very well be this loop or cycle that a lot of us are going to see come forward. And this is going to be an opportunity this week to take charge and say no. So where are you when it comes to these boundaries of saying no more? I don't want to continue to put myself in the ground and run ragged for people who don't appreciate it, or where I'm not getting the recognition that I deserve or appreciation that I deserve in my life. So we're really seeing this amazing claimation. So we're really claiming our worth this week. So be mindful of these cycles that come up. Be mindful of these feelings or emotions or instances that trigger these feelings of low self-worth or not being valued as you deserve. And notice this is your initiation to set yourself free, okay? And becoming aware of the conditioning. So have you been conditioned to believe a certain thing about yourself? Have you been conditioned in programs that make it that you have to be selfless, that you cannot do anything for yourself, or being a good person means sacrificing your needs? You know, these are really strong themes that we're going to see very present, and where we're needing to take that self-respect back for ourselves and bolster that self-worth. So really, really cool what we're going to be conquering this week. So just another reminder, take a step back before you react to situations and really analyze, how is this coming up in my life? So ask these questions, what would your life look like if you did come first? Would you be where you are? Would things look different? If you fully loved yourself, if you fully were in that space of awareness where it's like, wow, this is what's respectful of me, this is what honors me and my well-being and my greatness, right? So does your life mirror that respect you have? Does your life mirror to you the love that you have for yourself or should have for yourself? And if not, what boundaries now need to be set and put in place in order for you to achieve that goal of feeling whole, of feeling restored, of feeling worthy in your life? And I love this last one where it's like, where do you need to believe that that's possible? So once more, if we've grown up in an environment where we've had so much of this conditioning of selflessness, as an example, not being able to have anything for yourself or do anything for yourself, or this constant caregiving role that a lot of us light workers get very tripped up in, we might not be able to picture a life different from that because we've never experienced it. So where do we now need to recognize we have the power and to take that power back and go, you know what? I might not have experienced a healthy relationship with myself and others, but now I'm willing to try. And now I need to believe that that is actually possible for me, and that it is possible for me to move forward in complete love, right? Because a lot of times when we have this struggle of people pleasing or putting in boundaries, it's really coming from this awareness of, well, I'm going to disappoint someone, or I'm going to let someone down, or, I wish I could save this person, so I'm going to do all this, right? But we need to shift our perspective to how that is in fact honoring yourself and saying yes to yourself and your needs and validating that you deserve them. So see how all of these things come back to the mirroring, right? So if your relationships, or even your job as an example, because this goes beyond just, people relationships, it's your relationship to life in general. So your job as an example, like if they're constantly running you ragged without any reward, without any appreciation, do you do that to yourself, right? Where do we need to now put in those boundaries and go, you know what? No, I do deserve to be honored here. I do deserve a pay raise, or I do deserve recognition or a promotion. Look at that within yourself. When was the last time you gave yourself that appreciation? When was the last time you celebrated how far you've come, the work you've put in to become who you are, or a job well done? This is what we need to be really looking at, because with Venus retrograde, we're going to really be illuminated to these tendencies, especially around self-worth and our desires, and what's kind of holding us back, right? So this is a time to not take sudden action, but to slow down enough to really become aware. What is happening beneath the surface? What is happening here? And what am I saying yes to that I need to say no to? So we might get a little overwhelmed this week. They're really showing me how emotions are going to be trudged up. And once more, we have to recognize this is for clearing. This is healing the heart chakra, the giving and receiving energies. And they're really showing me the power of that. And I'm hearing the song, The Power of Love by Celine Dion, and keeping that in the forefront of your mind, right? So with every issue that comes up this week, and we might have that in our relationships, we might have a bit of conflict in these areas of life. And if that does come up, how can you wrap the situation in love? How can you call in your guides to, once more, lay your loving hands on this situation for the betterment of me and all in this situation? And they're really showing me like literally wrapping the energy of love around it. So if you find yourself in conflict, if you find yourself in despair or devastation this week because of this awareness that comes through to you, they're really saying, put your loving hands on it. Wrap yourself in love. Wrap the situation in love, because that's how we want to move forward. We don't want to keep acting from our wounds. We want to start acting from this space of love. And just a note here, that does not mean bypassing, right? So don't bypass how you feel. You have to honor and respect your emotions too. They matter. So if you're angry, if you're hurt, absolutely, you got to feel that. You got to release that. You got to clear that, right? We don't want to be storing emotions in the body. We must honor them. And I'm getting the reminder here to remember, stop casting your emotions in judgment as this is a right emotion to feel and this is a wrong emotion to feel. Don't judge your emotions. Have the space this week to let all emotions, all sides of you be present and released and respected. That's key. And from there, at that point, start going into the love, going, okay, well, I've let out all this angst. I've let out all my hurt. Now I want to move forward in love. So how do I do that, right? And then making that forward movement and taking those actions. So they were showing me the physical heart and it being kind of underwater. So we're going to feel a lot of emotions. We might feel like we're actually drowning in our circumstances or in our hurt or in our conditioning. And it really has to do with these boundaries that we need to put in place. And they're really showing me that, like, be careful not to also go into the other extreme of becoming a slave to your emotions this week, the slave to the conflict or the anger. We need to find that fine line. So what they're really bringing awareness to is that this is the time to once more observe yourself, observe what's happening around you, observe your relationships, and really getting clear on what you need out of this. What is it you're learning? What is it the lessons that you need to now put into action and move forward from and really learn? And what is necessary for you to be in this space of love and care and well-being for yourself? So once again, where do boundaries need to be put in? Where do I need to feel respected and valued in my life? And it starts with me, right? Look at that. Where in your own relationship do you need to make those adjustments to then go to the external, right? So no quick movements this week, no quick decisions. Some of us might be like, well, I'm going to cut this relationship off. That is not the way this week. You know, yes, you might get awareness to toxicities, but how can you once more take a step back, see the full picture, and then make a decision from that place of empowerment? So this is trickling into a lot of different areas in life. So be mindful. This next little area is career. So career changes at best. A job is a reflection of you. So once again, we really need to be mindful of this mirroring that is happening, okay, between our external world and how that is mirroring to us what's happening in our internal world without the filter of the ego. So where are you pulled in too many different directions? Where have you forgotten your spiritual practice? Where do you feel lack in your life? Are you financially responsible? What changes now need to be made? No settling, no compromises. What would your life need to look like in order to honor you? So once more, this very strong reminder this week. What's it going to take? What's it going to require for you to be in a good place? So these are questions to maybe journal out, to really look a little deeper into, right? So when it comes to your desires, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your job, right? Where are you feeling scattered? Where are the important things going by the wayside? And one of these things was your spiritual practice. Some of us might be like, wow, I've just become so consumed in all these different things and all these different directions that I've totally forgotten my spiritual side, or haven't been able to really dedicate the time I used to my spiritual practice and to my well-being and my self-care, right? So where are those things slipping, and where do those now need to be reprioritized, right? Now, we're also looking at finances this week, right? So with Venus retrograde, we're getting a lot around self-worth. We're getting a lot around our desires. So in order for us to achieve those desires and dreams, or achieve what's really worthy and deserving of us, we need to now take a little look-see and go, oh, okay, where do I need to be making responsible financial decisions that honor me, that are going to get me to my long-term goals? Okay, so these are things we're going to look at. So they're kind of showing me impulse buying, how that's going to be taking a back seat, how we're going to be very mindful. We might want to do these things this week. They're kind of showing me that, like, I deserve it, I need to do this for myself. And that might be the case, but really being mindful of your purchases. Like, is this a purchase that is helping me get to my goal? Or is this a purchase that is regressing myself towards my goals? And being very logical in that respect. So they're kind of giving me this analyzation of even those grounded areas in life, right? So what are my financial needs? Am I making financial and responsible decisions that honor me? And what now needs to change? Now, we're also getting this in reflection of our work, because once more, our work mirrors us. So as we brought up at the beginning of the reading, if our job is mirroring to us this dislike of like lack, or making us feel like we're putting in all this work with no result, that came up earlier, where are we doing the same? Right? So really take a look at that. Does my job mirror to me a positive reflection? And where do we need to be honest with ourselves of what adjustments need to be made? And this really helps us get a very honest, unbiased view, because when it comes to ourselves, our ego's there, right? We can't get past the ego all the time. And that can be really challenging for us in our lives, because we're so in it. Everything's so personal, right? But when we look at our external world, it's very easy for us to quickly point out the problems, to quickly see what's not working, what's bothering us, right? And that once more becomes this little gateway to what's really happening inside. So take a very strong look this week of your relationship to abundance, your relationship to appreciation, your relationship to self-worth, and where these things really are taking center stage and need to shift. Now, I love this because they're really mentioning no settling, no compromises. What would your life need to look like in order to honor you? So yes, beautiful reminder again. How does your life need to shift in order to reflect this image that you want to see, right? And making those internal shifts. So prioritize some meditation this week, prioritize journaling, prioritize going deeper. We're in Pisces season now, which is a very deep intuitive sign. So this is a really powerful time for you to be tuning into your psychicness, your intuitive downloads, and really going into the dream space. You're going to have a lot of success in that because of the current energies. So take advantage of that. And once again, take a playful approach. We're not here to heal through this lens of perfectionism or self-criticism. So be very mindful of that this week. Where are you going in with this intent? You need to fix yourself. You need to be better, right? We don't want to go into our healing from that place. we want to take the approach of love. This is what is most loving for me. This is what's most wonderful for me, is to put myself first, is to make these shifts, to make decisions that honor my vessel and honor me. So taking that perspective and realizing perspective is everything. So from there, we have recognition is key. So once again, we're getting this reminder, recognition, right? Are you recognized? Do you feel recognized? And from there, do you feel seen and heard, right? We're in the month of the 3, self-expression. So think of that, okay? So make a solid plan for success. How to accomplish your goals so they may become fruitful. Learning a new way of success, financial success, treating yourself as something good, truly to what you want. Okay, I read that wrong. Treating yourself to something good, truly to what you actually want. Patience is key in your relationships. Cutting out the fluff, seeing through to the soul. Who sees you? Who wants you? Not just certain parts. Speak wisely. Make conscious choices to speak only loving words about another and about yourself. Forming connections and bonds that are truly lasting in love. Questions to consider. What will make this connection more healthy, more whole? Don't give up. Give up on what doesn't serve. Love the whole person, including yourself, faults and all. This is unconditional love. This is what pushes us forward in our soul's evolution. See the bigger picture. See to the wounds that now need tender care. Okay, so let's pause here. Really, really beautiful reminders here. So once again, we're going to get this awareness to where recognition is needed and where we might be feeling lacking in that. So let's start there. So making a solid plan for success. So if we're not feeling recognized for our work, as an example, if we're putting all this effort into a job or into a project and we're just not feeling like, hey, that didn't get the results that I wanted, how can we get those results? How can we get ourselves out there? How can we let our voices be heard? How can we let our projects and passions be seen? Okay? This is where they want us to focus this week, because I'm hearing a lot of us have put in the hard work. We've done it. It's like we've built ourselves up. We've built something amazing. Now it's time for this final push to get it out there, to be seen. So this is really cool. I'm seeing us learning a new way and evaluating new forms of success and what that looks like. So we might have some eye-openers when it comes to our perspectives in this and what might shift, and also the self-recognition. So they have this awareness of treating yourself to something good. So yes, this week we do need to treat ourselves. We do need to reward ourselves in a way that actually gets us to what we want. And I thought that was a really key statement, because how many times do we compromise in that, where it's like, I really want to have this, perhaps it's a big purchase. That's what I really want. But in the meantime, since I can't afford that right now, I'm going to compromise and get this, which is like the lesser version of this big purchase. And maybe it's only semi-fulfilling because you're like, that's not really what I wanted, but it's kind of what I wanted. And you're kind of left feeling like it hollow, like it didn't really get you there. So what they're showing me with this is, would it not be better to save that money to actually go towards what you want? And if you are going to reward yourself this week, rewarding yourself with something you actually want. Perhaps it's not something you should, purchase that you're like, I don't need it. But is it what you actually desire? right? So they're kind of just showing me this responsibility, this awareness of how we're using our finances and being mindful of that, but making sure that the purchases that we do engage in are fulfilling purchases, right? So if we're just buying things for the sake of buying them, we're not going to get the same fulfillment as if we put it into something we really desire, what we really know is going to fulfill us and our needs. So they're really showing me that patience is key in this, and to really be mindful of that this week. So treat yourself. This is giving yourself recognition. And one of these ways is celebration. So celebration of your goals, celebration of the journey, celebration of how far you've come. Kind of showing me like a sit down dinner. Maybe that's a way for you to celebrate. You're like, wow, I finished this project. Well, you need to celebrate that. Don't just move on from that. Take a moment to be like, I did it. I did this. I did something amazing. And giving yourself the validation that you rightly deserve, right? So from there, we have this huge theme of coming back to relationships here. So I love how they put this, cutting out the fluff. This is so true. So this week, we might be seeing a lot of people. We might be getting these engagements. Some of them are going to be karmic connections coming back into our lives. And with this, they're kind of just going like patience. So don't make any sudden moves. Don't make any rash actions, but remove the fluff from it. So if you're finding yourself dancing around things, or you're like, well, you know, this person's just kind of surface level, cut the fluff and get to the meat of things. So if you're like, you know, I really enjoy this friend, but I feel like we're just on surface level, try going deep. Try going there. See where you can go in these connections. And once again, they're just kind of showing me like a new approach to these relationships. And if that doesn't resonate with that individual or doesn't resonate with you, then you kind of observe that, take that, and move forward and be like, okay, well, this friend might just be this way, and that's who they are, and that's okay. Or it's going to take your relationship to a new level. So they're really kind of showing us taking these new approaches to our relationships and testing the waters a bit to see how deep we can go, how much further we can go to deepen the connection. And I love this because we're really seeing the purity of the intent with these friends as well. So who sees you? Who wants you, not just certain parts. And that's really key. You know, sometimes we have individuals and they're like, well, I love you, but I really don't like this part of you. Or they only want to be with you during the good times. They don't want to be there through the low times, or they just disappear, right? You know, we might feel that way where it's like, wow, when I bring up this subject, you don't want to talk to me about it, or you don't really seem encouraging in it, or you don't really listen to me. And that's where we have to, once again, take observation. Does this person just want the good parts of me and not the bad? Does this person only want to be with me when I'm in this space as opposed to other spaces? Is this person really with me through thick and thin? Do they appreciate all parts of me? And do they love all parts of me, right? And this comes back to ourselves as well, you know. Do you love all parts of you? Are you accepting of all parts of you? And can you be all of you unapologetically? So with this 3 energy coming in, we're really getting this reminder, hey, like, speak up, use your voice, be seen, be heard. So we're going to come up with these wounds around these areas. So with the voice, we're having some caution here. Speak wisely. Make a conscious choice to speak only loving words about another and about yourself, forming connections and bonds that are truly lasting in love. Okay, this is beautiful because once again, we're getting very, very conscious and intentional about how we speak and about that vibration, what we're actually putting out there. So yes, sometimes we're going to need to vent, and sometimes we're going to have to blow off some steam about certain things that happen. But how can we come back to that space of love, right? And how can we make that very conscious intention? You know, I might not like this about this individual, but I'm going to choose love anyway. I'm going to choose to, once again, get the bigger perspective here and really speak in love, even when it comes to people that perhaps I dislike or that dislike me. And this is beautiful because, once again, it's redirecting our focus, because they're kind of going how we're no longer going to entertain that vibration of this person's annoying me, this person is frustrating to me, I don't like this person, to my focus now is on love. And I'm going to focus on those connections that actually give me that feeling of love, that actually reciprocate that love. And that is where I'm focusing my intent. And it just makes such a huge shift that happens. So instead of focusing on what's going wrong or the people who are wrong for you, you're focusing on what is going right and the people who are right for you. And I love this because, once again, we get these amazing introspective questions. What will make this connection more healthy, more whole? So instead of just giving up on connections this week, they're really kind of going, once again, take a step back, go slowly with this. Don't just give up on people. They're really kind of showing me how we might have this tendency, and we have a very strong push for this, where it's just like, just cut ties, just cut people out completely. And sometimes that might be the healthiest choice, but this week we're being called to halt and to become very aware of these decisions. And they're kind of showing me like this tendency to just, when things don't go the way we want, we just cut them out because we don't want to be hurt. So where do we need to not just give up? Okay, where do we need to really look at things? And relationships do make us face our shadows, right? And relationships are very key to our growth. So a lot of times they're going to see this in family. They're kind of bringing this attention this week, our family dynamics, our partners, how they're very specially chosen for us to have these soul contracts with, because they help us grow. They help us learn, like, who better to trigger you most than the person you live with, the person you're constantly with all the time. So be aware of that. Your soul chose these individuals to play these roles in your life to trigger healing, to help you heal wounds within yourself. So don't just give up when you're triggered. Don't just give up on people when they frustrate you or fall short of your expectations. Ask yourself what you could be learning from this connection, because I guarantee you there is a lesson. And a lot of people, when they do cut out individuals, they'll notice that their next partner or their next relationship will bring forward that same cycle, the lesson they didn't learn. So if you found that, if you're like, wow, every relationship that I've had has this theme, maybe this is a theme within you that now needs to be addressed to stop the cycle and to really achieve true healing. So we're getting the guidance. Do not give up. Give up on what doesn't serve. Love the whole person, including yourself, faults and all. So this is really refreshing, because once again, we might have this very biased view where it's like, well, this person's done me wrong, this person's done this, or there's a conflict, and that might very well be valid and true. But once again, we're getting this awareness to, where do we need to be unconditionally loving? Where do we need to move forward from whatever situation we're in a space of love, right? Because let's be honest, that's how we want everything to progress, is in a space of love, in a place of forgiveness, in a place of, hey, maybe not everything's going right, but let's just keep on keeping on, and I'm going to see these parts of you that perhaps I don't like, but who's perfect, right? So we're not giving excuses for bad behavior. Obviously, we're going to have boundaries. We're going to have self-respect. If you're in a really negative situation, I'm not saying to stay in that, but what I am saying is, where do we need to be a little bit more open-hearted to people and their flaws, and being a little bit more aware of, hey, maybe we need to work through this, as opposed to just giving up, right? And moving on. So I'm really seeing that this is a beautiful energy, because we're putting in this effort into our relationships that perhaps we never have before. And we're really putting in this awareness of love into our relationships, even when the people in our lives let us down, even when there are things that need to be course corrected or changed. We're like, you know what? I'm still going to love you, because I know you are worth it to me. So this is unconditional love. This is what pushes us forward in our soul's evolution. So see the bigger picture. See to the wounds that now need tender care. This was quite cool, because once again, we might get illuminated to those wounds this week. We might get very strong awareness to, hey, I'm hurt. This is hard for me. This is a struggle for me, but I'm going to get that bigger picture of this. And I'm going to give myself compassion, and I'm going to give these parts of me that are fighting or having a hard time, the love and space and care they need. So be very mindful of that. And this is really healing. This is helping us in our forward growth, because once again, we're showing up for ourselves. We're going, I'm here for myself, despite the toughness of the situation, despite what is happening, right? Really, really beautiful. So from there, we have the voice. Speak up. Not being heard, how can you be heard? Finding outlets of peace. Taking the initiative to use your voice in a new and healthy way. Seeing you can and are heard. You just didn't see it that way. Innovative solutions that care about you, about your well-being. Offers coming in. Opportunities to stand fully in your light and shine. Don't give up now. You are meant to be heard. You are meant to be seen. And then from there, they showed me this a very aggressive energy, this attack energy. So we might get that awareness this week of fear around speaking out or speaking up and being attacked or persecuted for this. But I was really hearing this as a wound that is meant to be healed. Okay, and finding this balance in the throat chakra as well, where it comes to where we might feel like we want to attack others for their truth. So we're getting this balance of energies in the throat this week. It's quite interesting. So let's review this. So speaking with your voice, not feeling heard, but how can you be? So once again, our relationship to our throat chakra this week is going to take center stage. How can you be heard in your life? How can you really feel heard? Okay, and what are these healthy outlets that you need to take? Okay, so they're showing me creative expression. They're showing me, recording yourself, recording affirmations, like even just journaling, whatever outlets work for you. But this week we need to get it out. So whatever we're angry about, whatever we're hurt about, whatever we're passionate about, how can you be heard? They're also showing me this rise in podcasts. Some of us might be podcasting this week. Some of us might be utilizing those outlets to once again share their message, share what's important, what's on your heart. And they're really saying utilize that this week. So saying you can and you are heard. You just didn't see it that way. So they're showing me once again this big wound around not feeling that, and this coming to a new resolution of oh, actually I am heard by this person. Actually, this person is who makes me feel heard. And once again, we're shifting the focus to those individuals, to that audience, as opposed to the ones that don't. So maybe this attacking energy, maybe we've had that in the past. Maybe we've had that karmically through past lives where we've been attacked for standing up for ourselves, for putting in boundaries or speaking our truth. But this week we're going to be healing this. We're going to be letting this go for good. And also this need to retaliate. So be mindful. There might be some rage. There might be some hurt. There might be anger that rises this week around this wound. of not being heard, of not being seen or recognized. And we have to once more channel that out in a healthy way. So balancing that throat chakra. What are you holding back with? What are you not saying? What boundaries are overcrossed? And what now needs to be shifted? And once we let this hurt out, once we let this anger out, the throat chakra is coming back to this harmonization. So they're really, really showing me that. We're getting out the anger and also the fear, right? The fear of being hurt, the fear of being attacked. And this is so, so beautiful. So we're getting this awareness to how we want to move forward and how to do it. So we're letting go of what doesn't serve, and we are moving forward in a very empowered way this week. So explore your options. I'm really getting that. Explore what needs to be really deeply felt. So take time to meditate, to observe your current situations and what is being called to heal now. So let's pull a card for this week. What do we need to hear for this week? Any final messages? Okay, so we actually have 2 cards. So we have, what do I resist feeling right now? So we have to feel it to heal it. In order to let go of pain, we first honor its existence. Emotions are like waves. Some are soft, some are fierce, some are layered, and some will sweep you off your feet. When we allow ourselves to feel it all, we can then release what no longer serves us. Today's soul's action: allow yourself to feel this wave. Let it move through you, no matter how long it lasts. Then release it back into the ocean. Feel it, heal it. Enjoy the sweet freedom within your soul. Yes, so letting ourselves feel what we need to feel. We're in the Pisces season, so emotions are going to be very deep. They're going to be very highlighted for this week, and we have to ride those waves. We have to give ourselves the freedom to feel the happiness, the joy, and the opposite, the anger, the rage, the hurt. We might feel like we're on a bit of a roller coaster, but it's beautiful. We're all here to experience it. So give yourself the bandwidth to do that this week. And then the last card we have is, am I willing? So are you on the edge, you are on the edge of something great. Can you feel it? Yes, there is risk, uncertainty, and imperfections ahead. Failure is certain, and vulnerability is a requirement. You must be brave and trust yourself more than ever before. You will reach the dream, but you must stretch yourself into a whole new level of belief and willingness in order to move forward with courage. Today's soul's action: be brave, follow your heart's compass, and lift the lid on your own dreams. Today's mantra: it is possible. This is so cool. So even though we might be in the thick of this more challenging energy, this real interesting energy, we also are coming to this tipping point, and they're really showing me that we are on the edge of something great. This is only going to propel us forward. Getting out these emotions, getting out what we need to say, putting in the boundaries for our well-being, like this is going to catapult us forward exponentially and heal the throat chakra so we can really be powerful and feel safe being powerful. So I'm really seeing this week, we have to be willing to take that chance. We have to be willing to act and take the steps that we need to take to claim this new life for ourselves. So don't hold back. Observe, take in what you're needing to take in, learn the lessons you're needing to learn. And this is what's going to really help us move forward with confidence. So friends, that's all I have for us this week. I hope you enjoyed this reading. We have quite a lot to go through and to absorb. So if you need to re-listen to this, do that. But I'm sending you all the love and support in the world. Have a beautiful week. Bye.